if we do not stop this monster and this basically cancer on our territory, and then this cancer will come into your societies on your ground. And it's much, much cheaper to pay right now to help Ukraine to stop the monster, to defeat Russian Federation, for the sake of everything that you've been enjoying across Europe, to continue enjoying it, as opposed to having the necessity to send your own
troops,
people to protect your own countries. If we fail, it's going to be not Ukrainian failure.
No, woman. If Ukraine fails, to which it has already failed, it will be Ukraine and only Ukraine's failure and not that of Europe. It was Ukraine that allowed NATO to use its hands to fight Russia. It was again the same Ukraine that accepted to be a proxy fighter for NATO. Hello and welcome again to the Edge of Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on some political grifters from Ukraine who still think that they can manipulate European taxpayers to continue sending them money in the name of fighting for Europe. So what is this tomahawk brouhaha about? They are claiming that Russia is about to attack all of Europe, a fantasy which European politicians have been drooling over for the past 3 years. But are there any facts to such hallucinations? For the records, Russia is not interested in attacking any European country, and President Putin has reiterated this severally. Russia is not even interested in conquering Western Ukraine. Talk of Eastern European countries and Western Europe. What should Russia need that for? But for these fearmongers and grifting propagandists claiming to be politicians and lawmakers of their countries, who go on claiming that Russia is about to attack Western Europe, and as such, Europeans should give them more money and weapons to fight to protect them. Any fantasy song about Russia attacking Europe is a good song for them. Honestly, which king died and made Ukraine the Western European watchman and soldier to fight Russia to protect Western Europe? Isn't it strange that this lawmaker sitting on Deutsche Welle TV doesn't even have the word peace in her vocabulary? And this is after Ukraine has lost over 1.7 million people on the battlefield. Talk of the over 250,000 fatally wounded and the over 10 million people that have already migrated from the country. How do such lawmakers in this country think? Now let's take a listen to further hallucinations from this woman.
Or that at some point, if Russia doesn't change its behavior, tomahawks and Tauruses will come.
From Germany, maybe.
Maybe.
Is Ukraine prepared to take on the political risk, though, if you were to get the tomahawks? You know, you've had Vladimir Putin say that he would consider that to be an attack by NATO. He would view Western European countries as targets then. Are you willing to take on that political risk?
Putin understands the only language of strength, of unity, of pressure, and that is when he backs up and so backs down. I think that it's really important to change Russia's behavior is to actually hit where it will be painful for Russian Federation, for Russian state, and would change the behavior. And I don't think that would be seen as a attack from the NATO country. I think it's.
Just listen to the reckless talks of a so-called lawmaker. Does she even understand what she's saying? All Ukraine is doing is trying to drag Western Europe and the US into a fight with Russia. A decision which could be very disastrous for the entire world. But does people like her care? How many weapons haven't Ukraine received from the West since February 2022? With the results of Ukraine getting smaller in population and landmass. Does this ignorant grifter of a lawmaker really think that the US is willing and ready to go to war with Russia? Because of what? Because of a corrupt, insignificant country like Ukraine? This woman living next door to Russia clearly isn't aware that Russia has escalation dominance over Ukraine and all of Europe. Thus, NATO barking like a bulldog but can't bite. Lions don't continuously roar if this woman would care to know. So why hasn't NATO till now done anything to protect them if they claim they are fighting to protect NATO countries? Well, so what do you think? Will the so-called tomahawks change any game than what we have already experienced at the battlefield? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next podcast. Good day.